Are you ready, dear? Length. I'm spicy. That's gonna get used, I guarantee. What's up, everyone? I'm Sam, and I am back again with an answer to the question of, are wheel spacers worth it? Spacers are a hot topic around here, and we did a video a few years back talking about if spacers are safe or not. This is with young Alex and has over 1 million views, but we're not here today to talk about if spacers are safe or not. We're here to talk about if they are worth it or not. If you don't want to watch the previous video, I'll give you a hint. They're totally safe if you install them and do them right. Before we jump into this topic, don't forget to head over to fitmentindustries.com and check out the absolutely insane selection of wheels, tires, and suspension, and even spacers that we have on there. Let's get on the same page about what a spacer is and what a spacer is meant to do. After we understand what we're talking about, we can decide if spacers are worth it or not. So what is a wheel spacer? In its most basic form, a wheel spacer is a plate of metal that will sandwich between your wheel hub and your brake rotor, and will push your wheel out from the center of your car. It literally spaces the wheels out, hence the name spacer. If you aren't a total space case, you should understand what we're talking about right now. There's two main varieties of spacers. We've got our slip-on spacers and then our bolt-on spacers. The creativity on naming here isn't very high, so just bear with us. A slip-on spacer just slips over your wheel studs, and a bolt-on spacer bolts onto your wheel studs. Ideally, the spacer is what's called hub-centric, so it centers over your hub correctly. Otherwise, you might have some wobbly boy action, and nobody really wants that because it'll really suck driving like that. If you've got one of those fancy Euro cars though with lug bolts, it's a similar concept but more difficult because you guys are special. Fight me in the comments, I'm sorry, but lug bolts just make life difficult. Do the stud conversion, it makes your life 1,000 times easier. Speaking of studs, and I'm not talking about myself, your stud length with slip-on spacers is very important. You can watch our other video like I mentioned before, but you need to keep maximum thread engagement on your wheel studs if you're using slip-on spacers. Bolt-on spacers also need to be torqued to spec and checked in once in a while. You can ask Gels about this. He's got a really funny story about taking his wheel off and the nut literally just fell off the bolt-on spacer, but that's a story for another time. Spacers do come in a variety of sizes, from a couple little baby millimeters to big mama jamas at 40+ millimeters. As the spacer gets bigger, you're usually stuck with just a bolt-on option. That's where I'm at with my 240. Probably gonna need those bolt-on Johnnies to get the most out of my angle kit on the 240. Now, we're on the same basic page when it comes to what a spacer is. Why would you need one? Let's go through that right now. All right, first of all, I know some of you are going to be saying and typing in the comments, spacers are only for people that suck at wheel fitment, or spacers are cheating, just buy the right wheels the first time. Stop that. Find the delete key and untype that mumbo jumbo. There's two main reasons you need spacers. One is for looking frickin' dope and dialing in that wheel fitment. The other is for performance reasons and clearing steering and chassis components, along with increasing your scrub radius, which we'll get to after we get through the whole fitment thing. So let's start with dialing in that fitment, boys and girls. It's probably the most popular use of spacers around these parts. Yeah, you could just buy wheels with a perfect spec to fit your car and how you want it to fit. The problem is that sometimes wheels aren't offered in the fitment you need for your car in the particular wheel design of your choice. Anyone who has wide-bodied their car has gone through this. Unless you go super crazy custom multi-piece, your choices are limited when it comes to wheels. This might blow your mind too, but some people would prefer to stick with a monoblock style wheel versus going crazy multi-piece. Heck, not even wide-body cars have this issue. If you have aftermarket fenders or an aggressive roll-pull situation with your fenders, you're gonna have some different fitment specs to work with. Also, you might have bought some wheels that fit your car perfect and then you sold that car. Now your new car needs a little extra help to get that fitment perfect with the wheels you kept because the dude buying the car didn't want to spend that extra $500 to keep the wheels that you wanted to sell with the car, so now you're stuck with them, you're putting them on your new car. It's a whole situation a lot of us have gone through. So let's take a little look at another application through some performance-oriented lenses right here. So if you're looking to go sideways and drift like the cool kids, you might need a little extra space in those wheel wells to clear things like outer tie rods, tension arms, or sway bar end links. This is where a spacer can really help you. You can also increase your scrub radius with spacers, which help gain some control and grip in a performance-oriented situation like drifting. Quality spacers installed correctly for either look and fly or for better performance will be safe. Torque those nuts once in a while and make sure there isn't any play and you'll be A-okay. So how much are spacers though? Let's talk about price. So real quick, prices are gonna vary on wheel spacers depending on the type of spacer and how chonky it is. The chonkier the spacer, the more money it's gonna cost because those big boys use more material in their construction. In general though, you're honestly just looking at like a couple $100 for a set of quality spacers. Are spacers worth it though? I mean, that's why you clicked on the video and that's what we're gonna answer right here. Yeah, in my opinion, spacers are totally worth it, especially with the benefits you gain for the cost we just went over. If you're buying quality spacers and installing them correctly, there really isn't much of a downside at all. You can get your fitment absolutely dialed or clear anything you otherwise would need a set of custom multi-piece wheels for. There will be a few trolls out there telling people just to buy the right wheels and that they're taking the easy way out with just buying spacers. Let them be trolls, you do you. I'm running spacers myself, so if there's any trolls watching this and want to knock on spacers, come at me. I can fight you in the comments. Side note, if you haven't seen the movie Troll Hunter, you absolutely need to check it out. There's subtitles, you'll have to read it, but it's such a good movie. The moral of the spacer story though is, yeah, spacers are totally worth it. There isn't a lot of downside to them when installed right, except for some potential stigma in the car scene, which in reality, it doesn't really matter, and honestly, you shouldn't really even care about that, because you're gonna have either that perfect fitment or the absolute best performance for your vehicle. So go ahead and snag yourself a set of spacers if any of the reasons above apply to you. We even have them available at fitmentindustries.com. And heck, you can even go over to our gallery and see your exact car with the wheels you want and see what people are running for spacers on those vehicles. I'm Sam and really appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.